Today I'm going to talk about my Mixed Media Morsels art journals, but before I do, I've started showing you this little journal, and I am doing some daily practices of sketches in this journal, which has a line on one side and blank on the other. And today, I'm not sure who it was. It might have been Marianne that was talking about the challenge of drawing hands. And I was going, well, I think I'm going to work on that challenge. So I'm not going to show the process videos of these, but today I worked on baby hands being held by an adult hand. I'm just practicing. This is for my own private art journal. These are just practice sketches for me. And then I did this gentleman. So these are the three that I worked on for today. So I just wanted to share that with you. I'll be sharing this in several videos from now on. What I'm going to work on today is my mixed media morsels. Now I told you I've done techniques 1 through 10. Cat Hand is the person who's doing this challenge. There's a link to her channel and the description box below. I've done 10 of her techniques. She has technique 11 out. But before I do technique 11, I'm going to quit on this journal. I want to bind it. I'm not going to bind it in this video, but I've stopped on it for now. And I'm going to use these rest of these papers to create another journal, and I'm going to create it out of a Betty Crocker brownie mix box. Now, I watched Cat Hand's Technique 11 video, and in her video, she created a journal cover, and that's what I want to do. I thought, wow, that's perfect for my next journal. My next Mixed Media Morsels journal. I'm going to create the page, but I'm going to do what she did with the same technique. It's torn strips is the technique, and I'm just going to create a journal cover. And the pages, I think the pages will fit right in here with a little, maybe a ½ inch overlap. I'm going to take 2 of these pages. Let's get the other one out here. And what I'm going to do is, instead of having the sprockets here, I'm going to put the 2 pages together and glue them together with a strip of paper. And I'm going to do several of those, so I will have a Midori style art journal with the bands going, the hair bands going across here. But what I'm going to do first is create this cover. Now I have here several sources. Here's what I have. This is a magazine. I'll come back to that. But these are things that I've saved from, I don't throw these things away. Some of these were sent to me. Some of them were from projects. This is very much Graphic 45. I also have this magazine, Art and Antiques. I got a stack of these at the library, on the free library table. And this will be very fun. There are a lot of colorful pages like this that I think I can tear strips from. I have these plaid rulers. I got these at the thrift store. I think I got a bundle of them for between $1 and $2. So they cost me, I can't remember if I paid $2 for these or $1, but it would be all the way from 25 cents to 50 cents a piece. And look, see, this is already torn. So I can just put my ruler here, hopefully, and tear some pretty edges out of them. After I get them all torn, and after I get this box cut down to size, then I'm going to do what Cat Hand did and make an art journal cover out of it. So I'm going to go into fast forward motion and get started, and let's see what I come up with. I start on my journal by deconstructing this Betty Crocker brownie box. I'm cutting off the flaps, except for those little end tabs that I'm going to use to strengthen the spine. Measuring out the pages, making sure that they fit. You see, I cut my scrap paint black tube in half so that I can use up the very last drop on this cover. I'm just giving it a base coat. I do both sides and then I dry it off. Get a good start on the journal cover already. Now I'm just tearing those magazine strips. I'll have a nice little supply. Tear some pink floral and some red polka dot scrapbook paper strips. Now I'm pulling out a good number of pages, trimming them up. You'll see I'll put them side by side and tape them together, and they'll go into my journal Midori style. Here I'm just choosing different scrapbook papers to use to put the papers together. Here's where I start doing that. Just glue them together. I think I ended up with 8 of these pages, which will give me a good number of pages for the mixed media techniques. I used wet glue here, and I also tried score tape, and then I think I ended up using a glue stick, which I think worked the best. The wet glue leaves the pages kind of wet. Now I'm gluing the strips to the journal cover. This will be the back of the journal. Diagonal strips there. Collaging it down. And this will be the front with the red and polka dot and the pink floral. I really like that graphic 45 paper, those playing cards. So I decide to put that right there toward the bottom. Now I'm looking for a journal spot. There it is. I think it's a Lewis Carroll quote. Sometimes I bleed for 6 impossible things before breakfast. I'm trimming off the excess around all the borders. At this point my journal cover is wet, but I do manage to get it trimmed up. You can see I put some of that red plaid mailing tape along the spine. That will eventually get covered up, but it gives it a lot of strength along the spine of the journal. And I also tape down those flaps. Here again, I feel like those will give it strength because I'm going to use elastic bands around the spine. Now I get out my painted paper roll. I'm going to use that tissue paper that I like so well. But what I found out is when I collaged it down on the black, my designs faded into the back, so I got out some handwriting. This was actually some left over from last Christmas when I wrote Macy's Christmas Story. I wrote out some of the chapters in handwriting. And I really do like the effect of the handwriting after I collaged the tissue paper over it. Really gave it a nice mixed media effect. I almost like the inside as much as I do the outside. Now I'm just putting some, this is Scotch brand washi tape along the borders just to clean them up and make them appear nice. Frames it off. I also put that washi tape over that red plaid tape on the spine. Smoothing everything down. Do all 4 borders and the spine. I'm really happy with how this is turning out. Now I'll get out my fine line paint applicator and do some embellishing on the front and the back, and you'll see where I'll finish this off in the next segment. I finish it off offline, and I'll talk about it in the next segment. It's all finished. I went ahead and finished the inside cover with my fine line paint applicator embellishments. You saw me do that on the outside cover. And then I tried to put hair bands across here for the Midori style binding, but it was too tight. They were too tight, and they pulled the spine inward like that and wrinkled it all up. So I snipped them off, and this is just elastic thread. I had to bundle it together. I did tape it at the top and the bottom and secured it that way. I have 3 signatures in here. 2 of the signatures have 3 folios, and the middle one only has 2 folios. I'm very happy with this. I think when I pull these pages out and start working on them, I might need to secure these pages a bit more, these inner pieces a bit more, but that's okay. I can do that as I'm working. These will probably get painted over. I don't know. It just depends on what the techniques are. The first technique that I'm going to work on in here will be technique 11. And I'll probably be working on this page and this page. It's going to be very fun to work on this. I had a lot of fun doing it. I want to give another shout out to Cat Hand, because her technique 11 video, she shows where she did make journal covers out of her torn strips, which is technique 11. And I thought, that's really a great thing to do because I needed another journal. I'm going to bind the volume 1. So this will be volume 2 of the Mixed Media Morsels. This is just plain fun. I had a lot of fun doing this. I can't wait to fill up all these pages. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next page.